Hi, 7th graders. This is Chapter 7's preview lesson. So we are on page, let's see here, this is 270, so this must be 269. Page 269, and we're going to be talking about Chapter 7, Constructions and Scale Drawings. This chapter is really, really fun. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. And it's nice that we're going to have these on video because if you get confused, you can always go back and watch these videos to get a refresher. So today we are just going to be talking about the preview. So I will have a bell ringer ready for you guys to do. I believe it's these questions down here. So I want you guys to take a few minutes to try them on your own. And then at the end of this video, maybe I'll go through some of them and see how you do. Now, today's preview lesson is a little different than other preview lessons because there's not a whole lot of information on here. It's just talks about how do you measure angles using a protractor, how do you draw angles using a protractor, and that's about it. Now, if you look at the chapter, we are doing adjacent and vertical angles, super fun. Complementary and supplementary angles, also once again, very fun. Triangles, I love teaching triangles. I love doing all the fun things we're going to do with those. And quadrilaterals are fun too. Oh my gosh. So yeah, this chapter is really, really great. So the reason why they're having you review with protractors is because you're going to be talking about angles a lot. Protractors are something that they're introduced in like 4th grade. So a lot of 4th grade teachers will do fun things like take tape and lay it on the desks and have kids go around with protractors and measure them. That's something that we will do in our class as well, just as a refresher. But let's go ahead and start reading from the top. Measuring angles. Use a protractor to find the measure of each angle. Then classify the angle as acute, obtuse, right, or straight. Now, those should be review words, but before we really dive in and start doing the examples on this page, let me make sure you guys remember what those things are. Acute. Acute is a small angle that is less than 90 degrees. Okay? So acute, tiny, that's the word acute just reminds me of like it's small and precious and it's smaller than 90 degrees. So if I had a 90-degree angle, let's see if oh yes, baby, that's beautiful. If I had a 90-degree angle, it's a perfect square corner, which means I could fit a piece of paper in there, whatever, it'd be perfect, right? That's 90 degrees. Acute is anything smaller than that. So if I were to grab that edge of the triangle and move it that way, anything that way will be acute angle. So let me go ahead and draw this now with maybe like a blue. So here's my line right there, trying to land it perfectly perfect. Okay, so now let me see if I can make this work. Okay, so here's 90. Anything smaller is acute. So that's acute, that's acute, that's acute, that's acute, that's acute, that's acute, that's acute. Even like, ooh, I can't see how close I can get. It looks like that's as close as it's gonna let me get. Let's pretend that's 89 degrees. 89 degrees is acute. Precious little angle, okay? Okay, so that's acute. Now, the opposite of acute, I would say, is obtuse. So obtuse as a moose. Obtuse is wide like a moose's antlers. Ooh, looks more like a longhorn. And no, it's a moose. Okay, obtuse as a moose. Very wide. So if I had a 90-degree corner, anything this way, but not perfectly straight, I would say, boop, right there. That's obtuse. And I'm not talking about that red angle that makes 90. I'm talking like, boop, that guy. That's obtuse, right? Anything greater than 90, but not a complete straight line. A complete straight line, which they use the word straight, is 180 degrees, okay? That's 90 plus 90, right? I mean, if that's a 90 and if this was perfectly straight, that would be 90, and that'd be 180. But obtuse is going to be like, big and wide. I would say it's from anything from 91 degrees to 179 degrees, okay? Okay. Right angle, obviously, that guy. Straight, completely flat, 180 degrees. Okay, so that was just a quick little recap of what those words mean. And now I want to do a quick little review of how to read a compass. Now you'll see compasses look one of two ways. There's this guy, there's this guy. I believe my classroom has more of these than those, but I'm going to teach you how to read both, okay? Now, once again, this should be review. So if you know how to do this, that's great. This is just a recap. If you don't know, I'd pay attention very carefully. That means this is new information. So how you use a compass is usually there's a little hole right here in the middle. A little hole right there in the middle. If there's not a little hole, they have these like crosshairs. Do you see how they built these crosshairs right there? The crosshairs are right here. Okay, so what those crosshairs are for is your point of your angle, like that guy right there, your point goes in that center, okay? And then right here, this line, that's where you line up one of your edges of your angle, okay? Once you have your edge lined up and your center right there, then you can measure the other side by finding out where it goes to. Sometimes you have to extend your line of your angle out further so it can reach all the way through your compass. But now let's talk about the numbers on your compass, because a lot of kids get confused on why on earth does it have like two versions of numbers going on over here and two versions of numbers going on over here. So let me explain that. If your angle opens anywhere over here, right, on this half of it, you're going to want to use and start with these numbers that are on the inside. These are the inside numbers, okay? Those are your inside numbers. So if, for example, if my angle opened it like this, I would say that was 50 degrees, right? Or even like, let's say it opened like this and it goes to here. That's 150 degrees, right? And it makes sense. It's obtuse. It should be more than 90. The reason why we have numbers now on the outside is because what if your angle doesn't open this way? Because it's not always going to open that way. What if your angle opens this way, right? Now that's not 120 degrees. I mean, obviously it's acute. It's small. It's less than 90. That should not be 120 degrees. That's when we use our outside numbers. That's 60 degrees. If it opened up like this and went up here, that's obviously not 70 degrees. That's 110 degrees. Okay, so basically the reason why we have two sets of numbers are because sometimes angles open up at different ways, right? Sometimes they're open in this way, sometimes they're open in this way. So our protractor allows us to measure angles no matter which side they're coming from. This protractor is very similar. This is the one you're going to have in the classroom. So on this protractor, it gives you a ruler down here just for funsies. And then over here is the measurements that we're going to be using to measure angles. So we've got the inside numbers. The inside numbers are useful for angles that we line up this way. So it doesn't matter which way we measure it, that would be 110. We would use the inside angles. If your angle is opening this way, we would use the outside angles. So that's 30 degrees. And this one would be 160 degrees. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and erase all that. That was just a quick little review. Let's go ahead and check this out. I got a protractor. It's measuring an angle. We align the center of the protractor, just like they've done, right here in the middle. And then you see how they lined up that edge nice and straight with that line. And then we went and measured this right out there. Remember, the angle's opening up this way, so we're going to use the inside numbers. This would be 10 degrees, 20 degrees. So I believe it's saying use a protractor to find the measure of each angle, then classify it as acute, obtuse, right, or straight. So this little guy is obviously acute. He's precious. Oh, so sweet. Acute. And we say that it's 20 degrees because we're using our inside numbers. 10 degrees, 20 degrees. Please, please, please use your common sense. Don't say this is 160 degrees. 160 degrees? That's obtuse as a moose. This is precious and little. It's acute. It should be less than 90, right? Okay, now this guy. See how the angle's opening up on the outside now, to the left? That means we're going to use these outside numbers. So we centered it, just like we've done. Nice and straight and nice and flat. And now, boom. He's coming out the side. Remember, we're using the outside angles. This is 130, this is 140, so right dead in the middle will be 135. I think that's another thing that kids really mix up is they get confused on like if you're counting this way, you're still counting up, right? So some kids go backwards and say, oh, then this must be 145. No, this is 135. Remember, if we're using the angles this way, we are counting this direction. If we're using the angles over on this side, then we're counting this direction, okay? Okay, so the angle is 135 degrees. We never finished this. And it's obtuse as a moose. Anything wider than 90 is obtuse. All right, now the second part of this review says, use a protractor to draw a 45-degree angle. Draw a ray. Remember, a ray, that's another word that's kind of a review. A ray is a dot with an arrow coming out of it. Okay, that's a ray. So the first thing it wants you to do is draw me a ray. And then it wants you to use a protractor to then draw the angle. So what I would do is put my center in my protractor where the center goes, line up my ray with the straight edge part, or the line, and then find out where the angle is on the protractor. So here, let me just pretend this is what we've been doing. Okay, here's my ray. See how I lined it up? Then I would put my protractor down and I would find out where 45 degrees is. Now our angle's opening this way, so we're going to use these numbers, 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. I would draw a little mark outside this, and then I would pick up my protractor and use the straight edge right here to help me draw a nice straight line connecting it to that little vertex right there. Okay. Use a protractor to find the measure of the angles, then classify them as acute, obtuse, right, or straight. Now, on your guys' bell ringer, I crossed off this part because I'm gone and I didn't want you guys to take my protractors and hurt them and be mean to them and not put them back nicely. So what I'm going to do is kind of just walk you through these, and I just want to help you classify them as acute, obtuse, or right, and then maybe kind of like make a guesstimate about maybe where they're at. So let's see here. Number 1, does this look like a 90-degree angle? No. Does it look less than 90? Yes, which means it is precious, it is small, it is acute. If you guys were to estimate what this is, let's think about that. A 90-degree angle will be my red angle right here. I'll just redraw, boop, straight line, okay, and then straight up, zoop. Okay, so that would be 90, right? What's half of 90? A 45-degree angle. So if that's 45 and this is 45, what could you guys kind of guess the whole thing would be to the blue line, right? So if that's 45, I would say this isn't even half of 45, because half of 45 would be about right there. So let's kind of think. I would say this is about, let's see, 45, maybe another, let's see, 45. What's 45 divided by 2? That goes in there twice. Two goes into 50. 35. Sorry, my brain's fried. 25 times. Okay. Okay, so this would be about, let's see. Man, I would guess that this is probably about 90, 80, maybe about 70 degrees. Okay, number 2. This is a perfect right angle. So we would call that a right angle. Yep. Don't say square. That's what you learned in 4th grade. You learned that and called that a square corner. I feel like that's silly. Don't call it a square corner. Let's just call it a right angle now. And 3. Is that one greater or less than 90 degrees? If that's 90 degrees, I could open it even further open, so that would be greater. And let's say that's about, let's say about 110, I don't know, 110 degrees, maybe. Okay, and then I'm not sure if I gave you these ones on your bell ringer or not, but let's kind of look at them right now. Use a protractor to draw an angle with the given measure. Okay, so let's definitely do those when I get back. If I gave you, though, this protractor, let me just pull up a protractor real quick. If I gave you this protractor, how I'd want you to draw, let's say 55 degrees, right? First, you would draw a ray. Once you had your ray drawn, then you would count up and go to 55. So 55's right there. And then I would turn my protractor and use its straight edge to help me make a perfectly straight line going through 55, and there would be a 55-degree corner. All right, let's do 160. Now, remember, I can always go both directions. It's just that my brain likes to open up angles this way. Okay, so there's 160. So I would go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 90, 100, all the way over to this guy. So I draw a line out here, and then I would use my straight edge to help me get it to my vertex perfectly, and then draw my arrow. Okay, 85 degrees. Make a vertex, make a ray, I mean. Okay, and then 85 degrees. So here's 80, here's 90, so it'd be right there. Ooh, it looks like a 90-degree corner. Oh, look, my pencil makes me want to do a 90-degree corner. That's silly. So I guess I'll just do this. And then just kind of make it where I want it to go. Right there. 85 degrees. I'm going to do 180. 180, that's a straight line. You guys need to have that memorized, by the way. 180 degrees, straight line. And if you don't know that, I'll show you. Ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 40, 50, 60, 70, 170. Ooh, my thing lost its track. That was silly. And here's 170 and 180. Straight line all the way through. All right, guys. So that, once again, was just a quick little review of some of the words and how to use a protractor. And in the next lesson, we will do 7.1, adjacent and vertical angles. All right, guys. I believe you just finished that bell ringer. Turn that in, and then that will be the only thing you owe me today. All right, bye.